I've always had a bit of a soft spot for animated films, but despite that, Rio 2 just really
Rio 2
didn't
tells the
work
story
all
of
that
how
much
Blue
for
and his
me.
family have to go to the Amazon in order to meet Linda and another person who are perhaps their previous owners, but a lot of other things within the plot ensue through the course of this film. The film possesses a great amount of excitement, fun, and genuine positivity, but still there are a lot of issues that I had with the film. First off, there's a bit of a cultural divide in the sense that the kind of jungle-ish blend that the film possesses and that kind of tribal living in terms of the songs, in terms of a lot of different themes throughout the film really works well, but at the same time, blending in rap and urban culture into the story really made it feel very out of place, and it almost divided it in a certain way to make it even easier to divide the enjoyable moments against the irritating ones. There are certain moments where I thought to myself that it was certainly intelligently done, but then you start to feel that while these moments are intelligently done, they are completely contrasted by some of the most silly and unnecessary bits, including a musical audition that takes place in the Amazon for so long, which really doesn't have all that much to do with the story. It's just one subplot that I believe that was focused on far too much. There are a lot of subplots in the film, but really the focus is so lost and divided after a point that it kind of hurts your brain and makes it rather confusing to a certain extent. The film could have benefited from possessing a lot of simplicity, which I think it really, really needed. There are, first off, far too many characters in this film, and I don't have a complaint saying that there is a quantitative limit to the number of characters a film must possess, but when some of the characters have almost no effect on the story whatsoever, in fact, are not relatable and do not add any pleasure to the experience, I believe that there is a bit of an oversaturation of characters at times, especially the poisonous frog. She was just so unnecessary. She really didn't need to be a part of this film, except for one moment at the end, which almost made the film seem a little more rushed, as if they needed her for that one moment to wrap things up extremely quickly, because the end of the film really just happens so fast, and there's a huge story that kind of finishes in a matter of seconds, and it's really strangely done. It's like there were many different writers of this film, and the original writers had a vision, but then the later writers decided to tone it down to make it more enjoyable for kids, to add in random and unnecessary scenes into this film that really just didn't need to exist, which made the film less of an enjoyable experience and almost boring to a certain extent, which was unfortunate because I really liked the beginning of the film, but as it progressed and as it went on, you really don't care about all that much that's happening on screen. Still, though, I must commend the film for a couple of things. One, the music in the film is great. It definitely adds a lot to the tone of the film. Of course, apart from the rap and all of those aspects, I still thought that blending in that amazing, almost African and kind of tribal music into the film was really well done. And secondly, there was an interesting message that the film actually had about humans and our treatment of animals, even though it was only focused on and actually brought up towards the third act of the film. I still have to say that it was addressed. It's certainly necessary to be addressed, and it was addressed in a pretty decent manner. There are moments where I felt the film was starting to tilt in a more mature direction, but at the same time, it keeps resorting back to unnecessary cliches, and I hate to use the word cliches, but when a film has such a large amount of predictability, and in fact, at times throws in subplots just to extend the running time. It's a 100-minute long film. Had the film being 80 minutes long, I'm sure I would have loved it far more. Nonetheless, Rio 2 is enjoyable more so for children. I would not recommend it for everyone. If you really don't have all that much to do, would like to see some pretty and flashy colors on screen, and that's about it, without any kind of connective tissue towards the film, it's something worth watching. Otherwise, I think you can definitely skip out on Rio 2. I'm going to give Rio 2 a double no.